The first thing we want to talk about with your recorder is to make sure it's put together correctly. Your recorder is actually two pieces, a top and a bottom piece. When you put them together, you want to make sure they're lined up correctly. So what you need to do is you need to look on the back of the recorder. Okay, there's only one dot back there. The logo of the recorder is on the front, but if you look on the back, there is a little plastic number 1 right above the gold band. Okay. You want to make sure that plastic 1, the thumb hole, that hole in back, and the little plastic G below that are all going to be in one line. Okay, if those three things are lined up, you'll also notice then that the air hole on top, the logo of the recorder, and all the holes on the front will also be lined up. Okay, if those things are in line, you should be good to go. Other than that, you're really not going to ever need to take your recorder apart. So you can keep it in one piece in your bag and you really won't need to take it apart. Next, we're going to talk about holding your recorder. You want to make sure that when you hold your recorder, you're holding the left hand on the top, the right hand on the bottom. Might feel backwards to some of you, but that's very important. The way the recorder is shaped, if you have your left hand on the bottom, you're not going to be able to reach some of the notes. So you're going to have to get used to having your left hand on top, right hand on the bottom. For right now, we don't even really need to use the right hand, so we're going to get it out of the way. It's still going to help hold the recorder up, but we're going to hold it all the way down here past all the holes. It's just going to help us support it for right now. When we're ready for those right hand notes, then we'll bring it back up. The first couple notes only use the left hand. So left hand on top, right hand on the bottom. One thing about holding the recorder that's very important, you want to make sure you're at the right angle. Okay? If you notice, your mouthpiece has a bit of a curve to it. There's a reason for that. You want to have it at a nice angle like this. You do not want your recorder up too high or down too low. It should feel comfortable right here, almost at an angle, almost a 45-degree angle, okay? But not straight up and definitely not straight down. The first note we're going to learn is going to be the note named B. And if you remember the lines of our staff, every good boy does fine. It's going to be B on the third or middle line. Probably one of your easiest notes to play. You only need 2 fingers, your thumb, and your pointer finger. So again, we're going to put our right hand down here, get it out of the way. Left hand thumb is going to go over the thumb hole. First finger is going to go on the top hole on the front. Okay, that's it. Just those two. They're almost, not quite exactly in front and behind of each other, so they'll be pretty much right there. Now, you want to make sure when you hold the recorder that your fingers are straight across. Okay, you're never angled like this. You're never angled like that. They're always straight across. I always talk about holding, pretending you're holding a cup of water, and just put the recorder right in there. Now, an important part is you got to seal up the holes totally. If any air gets out through the holes that you're covering up, it's a real nasty squeaking sound. So what you want to do is you want to use what we call the pad of our finger, which is this part, the squishy part here. You do not want to use the tip of your finger. So you want to use that squishy part to plug the holes up as much as you can, both on the thumb and all of your other fingers. So the other key is press hard, really tight. The tighter you can plug up those holes, the less squeak you're going to get. You'll know if you're squeezing hard enough, because when you're done, you'll get that little button on your finger. That's how you know you're doing it correctly. Now we want to talk about embouchure. Seems like a long, crazy word, but it's an important word. It's basically how the instrument fits into your mouth. When you play recorder, you want to take both your upper and lower lip and roll them over your teeth. You should never have your teeth actually touching on the recorder. They should always be cushioned by your lips. When you put the recorder in your mouth, you want to make sure that there's not too much in the mouth, but there's still a little bit in the mouth you can blow on it. The best way to do that is to use your finger. So if you look at your finger, right down here, about when the nail ends, if you put your finger in your mouth up to about that point, you'll know that's about the right distance that you would want the recorder in your mouth. So right about to the bottom of my fingernail, and then you're going to put the recorder in your mouth the same way. Very important to make sure you do that each and every time. Okay, finally we're going to talk about air. Very tricky playing recorder. Not because you need a lot of air, but you have to be careful not to put too much. It's really easy to overblow a recorder and get a real nasty squeaking sound. So when you breathe, you almost want to breathe just a little more than you would if you were normally letting air out. Just breathing in and out, it's about that much. But what you do want to do is you want to do what we call focusing our air. Okay? So imagine my finger is a candle, okay, and there's a candle flame there. How are you going to blow out that candle flame? You're probably going to focus your air like this. Okay, you're going to point it at the candle to make sure the most air blows out the candle. You want to do the same thing with the recorder. So what I tell everyone is when you're playing recorder, imagine there is a candle right there at the bottom of your recorder, and you're going to blow out that candle with your air. Now when we sit up, we want to sit up nicely. You don't have to be at attention, but you do want to sit up nicely. We don't need a lot of air, but we still need to give our lungs some room to breathe. So we want to make sure we're sitting up straight. Okay, we're going to go back. We're going to do our first note, like we said was B, first finger and thumb. Okay, we're going to make sure we have good embouchure, and we're going to play our first note. When you play your first note, you want to use what we call articulation. Another big word. And articulation, when we talk, means you talk clearly. If you don't talk clearly, you're not articulating. You want to articulate your notes as well. So what we do is every time we make a sound with our recorder, we're going to almost pretend like we're saying the word ta or tu. Okay, you're going to actually put your tongue to the back of your teeth and make that sound right before you blow. So it'll actually sound like this. It gives the note a nice clean start and makes sure everybody knows when we're starting together. Okay, so we have our fingering for our first note B. Okay, we're sitting up properly. We have a good embouchure. We're going to put it in the correct amount, get a nice breath, and blow gently.